Hello and welcome to From Dial Square to Where. It's a different one tonight. It's our first sort of fans phoning type format show, and really looking forward to it. Got some really good guests lined up. Before I go live with the first guest, I just wanted to really say and put out there my appreciation to everyone on Twitter, my whole entire Gooner family who have been very supportive to me lately. I can't say enough how appreciated I am about all the well wishes, and I just wanted to say that before I do anything else because it's meant an awful lot to me at the moment. So thank you ever so much, each and every one of you who sort of gave me your best wishes. It's really appreciated. Now, we've had a fantastic FA Cup win. Other stories that have come out today regarding the club. Lots of transfer talk and rumours and so on and so forth previously as well. So let's see what the first guest wants to specifically talk about first. And that is Melvin. How are you, Melvin?
Yeah, fine, thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me on.
No
What can you
problem at
say?
all.
What can you say? It's just euphoric still. I know we had some bad news today about the club. Timing was a bit strange, I thought.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, what do you want to concentrate on, Melvin? I'll leave it entirely up to you. Which sort of subject you want to talk about
I
first and
don't see how
foremost.
you can't talk about the manager, the
Uh,
coach, the manager.
I'm
You
so
cannot
glad
have
you
a
said that. Yeah,
you
I
cannot
absolutely
have
love
any
him.
talks about Arsenal without mentioning him.
No,
He's the soul of the club at the moment. Without him,
absolutely.
we would lose our soul. That's how important I think he is to us. We've
Yeah, I
seen a
totally agree.
slow improvement of the way we play, the way individuals play, the way we play as a team. I mean, it's just, I mean, there was a question, someone asked a question I heard yesterday, I think it was. Would it have been better if we had got Arteta a year earlier?
Yeah, what's your thoughts about that?
I don't think it would have been. I think he's just come at the right time. I think he's got that little bit, a year's extra experience with Pepe and working with the Man City players. I think he came into a situation that he knew it couldn't get any worse because he watched us the week before he signed when they murdered us 3-0, that could have been whatever you want. And I think he learned a lot from that. He saw our weaknesses from before day one, if you like, when he was watched us at the Emirates
Yeah,
on
yep.
the Man City bench. I just think it's marvellous. I really do. And I'm just thinking that all this money being allegedly splashed around by all these clubs, I think we'll be in a situation soon that we don't have to buy the 60 million player because our manager, I reckon, can make a 25 million player into a 60 million player in a very, very short period of time. Look what he's
I
done in
agree.
6 months.
I agree.
So
The turnaround has been nothing short of a miracle, really, has it? And it's just I can't speak highly enough of the guy. I love him more and more every day. Really, it's just I've said this before, and I do apologise for saying it, but I think the what sets aside a good manager from a truly great manager, which I believe that Arteta is. I still believe that people are underestimating him a lot. I think he's better than even a lot of our fans think. But I think what separates him more than anything is the ability to change not just one player, but a whole team's mindset from being what was basically a bunch of losers into a bunch of winners in such a short space of time. It's just phenomenal. And I think that is the real key to making the difference between a good manager versus an elite manager. And there isn't a single player, I don't think, who has massively improved on the pitch. Because I think the tactical side of it, the way he sets out the team against certain clubs that we've played so far, is the easy part for Arteta. I think the off-field stuff that he's had to deal with regarding a team that was just literally sliding down towards the relegation zone just a matter of months ago is the real sign of a true great coach.
I
And
think
that's
that,
go
I'm
on.
sorry, Andrew. I think you're right. I think not only are the players winners, but the manager's a winner. We've seen that very, very quickly. And some managers are fantastic, but they just can't get their team over the line. This guy's done it
Exactly.
at the first attempt, so that's another plus. And also,
Exactly.
similar to what you've said, not only does he make players better, but he gets the best out of them. The effort level is so good.
Exactly. We all know, and it's no point in going on and on about certain players aren't quite going to be good enough going forward. We know that, but like you said, he has undoubtedly got the best out of them, and I don't think they could do much more with some of the players that have been on the pitch. Yes, we need some upgrades, but it's just phenomenal the way that he has turned around to show the players' strengths, individual players' strengths, and hide their weaknesses. It's incredible.
I think if he ever gets into a conversation with a player and he wants to bring them to the Emirates, I think if a player's 50-50, not sure, he sits down with Arteta, I think he signs on the dotted line.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. Now, listen, just quickly before I move on to the next caller, let's have just a very quick chat about the news that came out today about the redundancies. It's such a shame. The timing of this just coming in so hot on the heels of such a brilliant day for the club, and such a positive day for the club. Just briefly, what have you got to say about this?
Well, I thought something out before. I worked it out. Say, for example, and I'm just throwing figures in the air here, Andrew. They average of £30,000 a year they earn. That's 1.5 million pounds. Yeah,
Exactly.
they're going to save on the first year. But against that, they said they're going to make redundancies, so it's going to cost them as well. So they might only get 1,750,000 savings, right? So you've got rid of all these people for 750 grand. When they bid for a player 31 million, and the other club wants 32 million, they'll probably give it. That's what the thing that I can't get in my head. It's like Arsenal is two different entities. There's the playing side, and there's the office and the other side, and it's a shame, really.
It is a massive shame, and yeah, it's difficult to defend the club at all about that, and the owners. Just such a shame that the way that it's come round, but yeah, it's hard to know. We've come from such a high a few days ago to that news today. It's put a bit of a downer on things, hasn't it? Sort of moving forward, but they do say that it's not going to detriment the team on the pitch, and I think that unfortunately that's all a lot of the fans think about is regarding that. Is going to be looking at every day for signings and so on and so forth. But it's a great point that you made there about the difference between a £30 million signing and a £31 million signing. No one would bat an eyelid at that, would they?
No, not
so
at all.
Great point, Melvin. A really good point. But yeah, thanks ever so much, Melvin. And how can people get hold of you on Twitter? Because everyone should be following you, Melvin.
That's it. It's Melvin. The only way is Arsenal Marks. Easy as that.
Great.
Thanks again.
Fantastic.
Speak to you soon.
Thanks again, Melvin. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Right, quickly move on to the next caller. Great points there from Melvin. You must go and follow Melvin. Melvin Marks on Twitter. Great guy. Let's see who is next up. And that is Richard. How are you doing, Richard?
Very well, thanks, mate.
Another familiar face.
Yeah, not bad at all. Are you okay as well?
Yeah, not bad at all. Thank you for asking. Not bad at all. A great weekend, as we all know. What a high that was. I think it was one of our most important wins, if I'm perfectly honest. And it was one of the most sort of rewarding wins on Saturday. And I just want to quickly point out before you move on to your points, but what are the top four? Just remind me of the top four teams this season.
Well, obviously,
No, seriously, name them.
We are obviously Liverpool, Man City, Man United, and Chelsea.
Great. And what's our last four results against each of those?
Yeah, I know, we've beaten them all.
We've beaten them all?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's another... Just adding on to what we're just discussing there with Melvin just now about the turnaround that Arteta's made.
Beat them all, and I think we only conceded 2 goals as well.
Yeah, exactly. We've beaten the last 4 games against the top 4. When was the last time we did that? You name it. I mean, I can't even get my head around whether we actually have done that in living memory. So I'm still, even if we don't make any signings in the summer, God, we all hope we do. But even if we don't, I still think we can push for top 4 next season based on our results under Arteta since January. I mean, go for it. What do you want to just discuss particularly about the weekend, about signings, about the news today? The world is your oyster.
Just a little bit of everything, really. I mean, obviously, from my point of view, I thought the FA Cup final on Saturday was one of the most enjoyable that I can remember, and that includes ones when I've been in the stadium. The whole day was just amazing. Obviously, the performance they put in, and it's going to be a cup final that'll never be forgotten, just because of the circumstances of it all, anyway. And the fact that it's us that's won it makes it even better. But like you said, it's one of the most important victories that we've had in a long, long time, because if we'd lost that game, been out of Europe, and now with obviously the news that's come out today as well in terms of the finances of the club, I really think we would have been looking at a really difficult few years coming ahead. So I do think that was a massively important victory for us. And to do it in the way that we did as well, I mean, it was just brilliant, wasn't it, the way we played as well. Apart from the first 20 minutes, was a bit nervous, but after that, it was brilliant. And I think Arteta's proved himself, hasn't he, with the water breaks. The way he's got the team together in them water breaks, and every single time there's been a break, usually we've improved straight afterwards, immediately, because he's got into them and he's given them instructions which they've managed to carry out. And it's been virtually every single game he's done that. And that's just great to see, isn't it? I mean, he's a proper coach, isn't he? I can't remember us having a coach like that probably since George Graham. Actually, he was a proper coach as well, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, funny you say that. I think he more mirrored. People go on about him working under Pep Guardiola and what he must have learnt from him, but I see him more as a sort of a George Graham type of manager, don't you?
Yeah, no, I do. I think he's gone about it in the right way. George Graham did the same, didn't he? When he came to the club, there was a few kind of big name players who maybe wasn't going to be the future. He quickly got rid of them. He worked straight away on making us harder to score goals against, make us more difficult to beat, which is what Arteta's done as well. And obviously George Graham as well got the won a trophy in his first season. So there's a lot to compare with Arteta. I mean, I think Arteta's obviously got a lot more modern ideas, hasn't he, in the way he wants to play football. And he's obviously got a lot better players, I think, now than when George Graham came into Arsenal. We had a lot of young kids who hadn't even really been tried at that point. And he brought in a lot of players from sort of lower leagues, didn't he, and built a team through that. Whereas I don't think Arteta's going to necessarily be doing that. But I could certainly see similarities in their sort of the way that they've come in and the impact that they've made and the way that they've done it. And I mean, I love Arteta. I mean, I wasn't overly enthusiastic when he was first appointed. I thought we needed someone a bit of a bigger name. But to be honest with you, he's completely won me over. I'm sure he's won everybody else over just with what he's produced, with what he had when he came in. What a mess we were in, on the pitch, off the pitch, everywhere. It was a mess. And he's come in, and within a very short space of time, he's not only kind of sorted that out, he's actually got us to win a trophy. I mean, it's just amazing, isn't it, really? Incredible.
It is. I don't think he can get enough praise, if I'm perfectly honest.
I don't. To me, he's manager of the season for me, just because of the turnaround that he's produced. I mean, obviously, Klopp's won the league. They've had a great season, but they were already an established team. Man City have had a poor season by their standards. Yeah, they've won the League Cup. They could win the Champions League. So Pep will be in with a shout. But again, they've got an established team, haven't they?
Exactly.
I mean, Sheffield United, obviously, their manager's done a great job with what they've done this year. Wolves again, but Wolves have had a settled team as well. But you think what Arteta's come into in that short space of time, the improvements that he's made. I mean, he's got to be in with a shout, hasn't he, of manager of the year, just on that basis, really. He's not going to get it, we know that. But, I just feel as though he needs to get recognised for that, really, because he's not going to get it, I don't think, from the people that vote for these things, is he, unfortunately? But maybe next season might be his year to get it. A full season, we'll see what he can do. But I'm really optimistic. I mean, Saturday was brilliant, and I haven't really stopped smiling since then. But you did just touch on it before, didn't you, about the news today that's come out of the club, which I do think there's a little bit, I think the media have hyped it up a little bit too much. I mean, a lot of the jobs that's gone are jobs that are no longer there in the retail sector when the shop's shut, didn't it? So there's a lot of jobs gone there. There's a match day staff, people that work in the stadium tours, all these sort of things that can't happen. And it's more them sort of jobs, isn't it? 55 jobs, which is a lot of jobs, obviously, and it's a shame for all those people. But I think they're just jobs that just, unfortunately, because of the circumstances we're in, them jobs don't exist at this moment in time. And unfortunately, it's happened in other companies are the same. A lot of people have lost their jobs, haven't they? And it's really a shame what's been going on. But I do feel as though, the media are trying to push it all on Ozil. Ozil's earning this. So we're going to be buying players for this. But it's a totally different side of the business, isn't it? It's the retail and match day side where the where the redundancies have come, because unfortunately they're the two sides of the club that at this moment in time have just suffered the most, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I haven't seen who's. All I've read is the club statement, because obviously I've been at work today and I haven't had a chance. I don't know where the list is of people. Where are people finding out who are actually been affected by the redundancies? What's members of staff?
Well, no, I mean, I haven't seen any list. I was just kind of going off the fact that obviously the shop at Finsbury Park recently shut down, so there's going to be redundancies there. I don't know how many people was employed in that shop, but some of them might have been reallocated elsewhere. But that's going to have been a factor, isn't it? And obviously, match day staff. I mean, I've heard a few things today. That obviously, the match day stewards are people that work in the stadium tours have been off as well. So it looks like it's going to be more them sort of jobs, maybe some office jobs as well, possibly admin type roles, that kind of stuff, which, it's unfortunately it's happening everywhere in the country, isn't it? People are losing their job right, left and centre, unfortunately, because things have shut down for 4 months. And
well, they guaranteed that the match day staff will continue to be paid for a certain period of time, didn't they?
Yeah.
And I can't remember when the date was, because they actually put a date on that, and I can't remember when that date was. But I mean, how could anyone, expect to carry on getting paid to be a match day member of staff when we haven't got any match days?
We haven't got matches, and we don't even know, do we, next season yet, whether fans are going to be in the ground. I'm assuming probably not, in actual fact, because of the situation now. Seems to be they're locking down more things, so the chance of there being fans in the ground, certainly this side of Christmas, I think that's very unlikely to happen. So, I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it is, isn't it? It shouldn't. From the club point of view, it's a business as well, isn't it? They've got to operate, they've got to make money, they've got to be able to operate and pay everybody that needs to be paid. At the end of the day, the playing side of it is separate to the sort of match day staff and the retail and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? It's separate, really.
It is.
And although it's really sad that when anyone loses their job, it's horrible and it's difficult. It's a difficult time to get other jobs at the moment as well. So I really feel sorry for them. But unfortunately, it is the nature of where we are. And I just hope that it doesn't affect the club too much in the overall plan of things on the pitch. It shouldn't do, because it's a separate thing, isn't it? Where the money for the players come from the sponsorships and the TV money and stuff like that as well, isn't it? So I'm hoping that it's not going to affect Arteta's planning too much. I mean, it might do. I just hope that people don't go over the top. If we buy a player for £50 million now this summer, which we might well do, that people don't say, oh, well, Arsenal made loads of people redundant. Every single club in Football League is going to be making people redundant. Staff are going to be made redundant, office staff, shop staff, whoever it is, they are, unfortunately. And Arsenal is no different. We've just come out and announced it early on, probably because the furlough scheme's changed now in August, hasn't it? And part of that maybe is involved in it. We've just come out and announced it. A lot of clubs won't probably even make a formal announcement. So it's good that we've done that, because at least everybody knows what's going on. I think there'll be some clubs that won't announce it for the reason that they won't want to get the stick when they spend £80 million on a player. And I think at least Arsenal have come out and done it and announced it and said, this is what we've had to do. And I kind of respect them for that, really. And, we don't know exactly which jobs have gone. I'm assuming it's not Mesut Ozil's job. I'm sure that he's probably quite safe.
I mean,
along with a few others.
Absolutely sick to death of hearing that guy's name
said,
in any way. I mean,
it needs to be sorted out, doesn't it? That's at the end of the day, we can't have this situation going on. And every single time anything happens like today, the first thing that happens is the media put Mesut Ozil's name in, Mesut Ozil's wage in. No one's going to say that when Aubameyang gets $300,000 a week contract in the next couple of weeks, if he signs it, no one's going to turn and say, well, Aubameyang's on $300,000 a week. They'll just accept it because he's a different player. But You're right, I'm sick of it now, and I just feel that we need to sort that out, get him off the payroll, whether we sell him, whether we pay him off, whatever we do, it's got to be done this summer, because we can't have this dragging into next season. Every time something happens to this club, it goes back to Mesut Ozil. It's Mesut Ozil this, Mesut Ozil that, Mesut Ozil on $350,000 a week. That needs to be gone. It needs to be gone, because it's bringing us all down. It's a negative vibe, and it's making people jump on the bandwagon, isn't it? I mean, I've had messages from people today saying, "Oh, Mesut Ozil on $350,000 a week, and you're laying off all your staff." It's like, well, these are going to be jobs that no longer exist. Unfortunately, being a footballer is a job that still does exist, for better or worse in some cases, but it does. And footballers are never going to necessarily be out of work, the top ones, are they? So.
Exactly. And, well, we can go on about it for ages, can't we? But
I want to be positive. Come on. I mean, I know that's a bad bit of news today. And I feel sorry for everyone who's involved, but it's been a good week for Arsenal. It's been a good few weeks, actually, when you think about it. It's been a good few months if you look at what we've done since lockdown, really, for the team on the pitch. And we need to be positive about what's happened now and obviously the future, and enjoy what we've done. We've won the FA Cup. Fantastic that was. To see the players celebrating the way they did with the manager, there's a great bond there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that's something that we can all be proud of, I think. And let's just hope Aubameyang signs that contract, because he's so important, isn't he? 60 goals in the last 2 seasons he's got. I mean, that's amazing. In a team that's been generally struggling as well. It's not like we're a top team that's winning every week. If he played for Liverpool or Man City, he'd be scoring a lot more, wouldn't he? Probably, with the chances that they get. Yeah. So what he's done with us is incredible. We need to get him sign a contract. We need to get this sorted out. We need to get the players that we need in for now. But I agree with you. I think even if we don't sign anybody else, I still think we've got a great chance of the top 4 next year, just on Arteta's coaching ability and the extra he's got out of all of them players. I do think I'm actually quite hoping that we might get Willian. Actually, I know he's not necessarily the most popular signing, but on a free, his wages, but he's probably not going to cost us that much over the sort of 2 years or whatever. I think it'd be a great addition for us, actually, with his experience for the young players. So I'm kind of hoping that we can get that. It's not going to cost an awful lot of money. It'd be a good starting point. We need some experience in the squad as well. You need young players and experience, don't you? And I think it'd be a great signing for us. So if we get that done in the next couple of weeks, that'll be brilliant as well.
Yeah, well, we'll leave it with that positivity. I agree. Carry on watching. We'll bring up the Willian situation and stuff in a short while. But I've obviously got a few more people lined up, but I'll have to move on. But really appreciate that, Richard. Some great points there.
Always good to talk to you, Andrew. Always
definitely. Likewise, Richard. And I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, no worries. Take it easy, mate.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. Cheers. Take care. Right. Well, that was the brilliant Richard, and that's get him on Twitter. It's at GoonerRichB, and I'll move on to the next caller. Some really interesting points there, as I'm sure you will agree. Johnny, how are you, pal?
Hello, mate. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming on. It's
pleasure.
Always a pleasure, and. Like I say, it's just such a bummer, isn't it, today? Because so much positivity. But we're 14 times winners of the FA Cup. It's such a great weekend. I mean, how are you feeling after that, first and foremost?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been this happy being an Arsenal supporter in a long time. As you know, I'm old school, and the FA Cup is a major trophy to me.
Yeah, me too.
It's changed for me. I think it's changed because certain fans and modern day fans it's changed for. They feel that it's not as important what it was. It's still the same to me. It's still the biggest trophy or the oldest trophy, whatever you call it. I love it. I love winning it, and I love competing in it. As I say, and we've done it again under a really good manager for me. As I say, I'm really happy with Arteta. I like the work he's doing. I like the positivity he's bringing to the club. I think being an Arsenal fan now, we've got a little bit of, something to look forward to in the future. Be excited. I'm not saying we're going to go and win the title, and some people say, "Oh, why not?" But we've got a manager that could push us on, and we should be looking forward now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally with you. I love the FA Cup, and do you know what? I wasn't sure what to expect with having the FA Cup without the fans in the stadium at the weekend, but to me, I really still enjoyed the game. I don't know about you, but it's clearly, I'll never go and say we don't need the fans. Of course we need the fans. It's always a big thing, but I was surprised at how much I was engrossed in the game and enjoyed the game as I did, really. I mean, I know it was nervy, but it was still had that sort of bit of magic about it to me. I don't know about whether you felt the same.
No, I felt exactly the same. If not, actually, to be fair, it made no difference to me whatsoever. It's apart from me just not being there myself. But sitting there, I felt exactly the same. I think sometimes in some matches, I think it's actually helped Arsenal not having fans there as well to some degree. It has made no difference to me. I sat there, I enjoyed it. We were up Finsbury Park in one of the pubs, T-Birds, I think it was, and it was just fabulous. It was a fabulous day. We thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm not being funny. I know there ain't no fans there, but when you've got the volume up and that, you're watching that green pitch, it didn't make any difference to me.
No, me neither. Now, what's your thoughts about Willian? Because I've had a complete U-turn on the situation. I'll just tell you quickly where I am with it, because I was even up till maybe sort of yesterday, I was really unsure about it. But I read, or listened to, I should say, the David Ornstein podcast. Oh, no, read it. Sorry, is his column yesterday, and I read his column, and it said specifically in that column that Mikel Arteta is the one that really wanted to pursue Willian, and that to me just completely changed my mind, because what I was worried about more than anything was the Kia Drabchin situation and blah blah, and whether we were just being he was being pushed onto us, etc. But if it's true that Mikel Arteta specifically wants him, then I've got no issue with that at all. And just quickly, what I'll add, a lot of people are making a big point about the length of his contract being 3 years, and Cedric saying it's a weird signing, 4 years. Because we've signed them on those length contracts, it doesn't mean they have to stay here for that length of time either. I don't think we can lose on either of them, because they're both free signings. Yes, they've got a decent salary as a result. However, if it's 120 grand a week for Willian, I don't think that's too bad at all, really. And I think in a year, 18 months, we have no issue with selling Willian to the MLS, for example, or to China, and with regards to Cedric, I don't think we can lose at all, because he will undoubtedly be bought by a Premier League team in a year or two's time if we wanted to get rid of him then as well. So I don't see the issue really with the length of contract anymore. It just suddenly dawned on me. What's your thoughts about it?
I think it's fabulous business. I think what I like and what people have got to realise is Arsenal haven't just got to go out, and that's been no offence to Pepe. It's took him a little while. Pep. 72 million. I mean, there's definitely a working class, it's progress there. It's clear that we've got a footballer, but you don't have to go and spend that kind of money. What Arteta is doing, and people forget, is he is actually building a squad of players that can play football and play together. It doesn't have to be a Messi. It doesn't have to be a Ronaldo. Leicester proved that. But these players, Willian, and I know you said that's respect to you, and I always respect your opinion, but I think if we sign Coutinho and Willian, I really believe that is a statement from Arsenal, because you have signed two decent footballers that won't be complaining about having a bad back week in and week out, won't be on nowhere near the same wage structure, and you'll get, and I reckon they'll shine. I mean, Coutinho hasn't shined at Barca, Bayern Munich, but he might shine at Arsenal. And the thing is, you've got Willian, you've got Pepe, you've got Aubameyang, Lacazette, and we've got now Martinez at the back. You've got Martinelli to come through. So going forward, and from the midfield, I'd get rid of Torreira now. Personally, that might upset a few people, but I think the introduction of Coutinho and Willian would cover that, and I think they would be fabulous signings. And I certainly think if you got Coutinho and Willian, with what we've got, we could certainly make top four, no question.
Yeah.
I think I honestly am so shocked of the people out there that have gone, no Willian, no Coutinho. You've got to realise you don't have to. They're decent players, right? You could argue they're world class, probably not, but they are decent footballers in a decent squad of players that we have got. I mean, Cedric, that's another squad player. People are saying, "Oh, should we aside?" You've got Bellerin, you've got Cedric. You know, it's a squad he's building. You know, it's a decent squad that he's building. That's what you want to win a title.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, the main thing for me is that we're going after players that Mikel Arteta wants for his squad, and that's what's the most important for me. And the way that he's turned around pretty much every player in the squad that's played for him so far, and the way that they've really performed for him. If there's anyone that's going to get Coutinho back to the levels he was at Liverpool, it's going to be him, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen. We've got to say it, because we'll have our usual laugh. You know, me and you about David Luiz. What I think of David Luiz. But
I love that. Yeah, I was going to clip that actually, and make a separate little show out of that. I mean, I think I might still do that.
Get a tattoo
Very funny
on the top of my head. But I think I think some of the Arsenal fans. I understand what David, but the Man City game, we now found out that he was injured. Obviously, the contract with it. But let's be honest, David Luiz, he is a major part of why we won our first trophy again for a long while. When I say, it's another trophy, and it was that experience that showed. He was outstanding in the semi-final, and he was brilliant in the final. and everyone talking about Rob Holding, and to me, Rob Holding was the weak link again. And I think it will be Louise, and I think someone else will start alongside him, Saliba or whatever his name is. I think that'll be your pairing.
Yeah, I still very reluctant to go too over the top about Rob Holding either. I could go on for quite a while about Rob Holding, but I still think there's a player in there. You can't just completely. I think people on Twitter, I think because we need to move on quickly, but I think people on Twitter just overreact after just a few bad or shaky games. All of a sudden, you're a dead player, and you've got no actual sort of thought just for a little while into reasons why he's not performing to the levels we know he can. Because it's not too far long ago that Holding was incredible in that cup final, 2017. That's only 3 seasons ago. And just a few short games ago, he was man of the match against Southampton, and everyone's raving about him, saying he's back. The problem is with him, he's more of a back 2 or, playing in a back 4. And he's playing in a back 3 on the opposite side to where he normally plays as well. On top of that, with the fact that he's still not played a lot of, a good run of games to get his fitness up, I still think there's a player in there. So I'm really, I wouldn't be too happy to sell him, but I know we've got to sell some of the centre backs.
Chambers, that's Deadwood. I mean, Chambers and Mustafi for me's got to go now.
Trouble is with his injury, whether he can or not now, it's a bit of an awkward one, isn't it?
It is tough. I mean, but Rob Holding, he's got time. I mean, I don't think he's going to be an Arsenal star. I don't think he's got quite, in my personal opinion, I think he's a decent squad player, and I think he could make both. Is he going to be a starter to win us or challenge for titles? I'm not so sure. But the jury's out for me. Yeah.
No, it's absolutely fair enough, and I can understand. I can totally understand. But we'll have to leave it there, Sir Johnny. Really appreciate that. It's been really good points again, and great call. Thanks ever so much for taking the time to come on.
No problem.
And hopefully speak to you again very soon, mate.
Yeah,
very soon for more David Luiz chat.
Yeah. I'll get my wig on next week, mate. See you later.
Take care, mate. Bye-bye. Right, let's get straight on to the next points. Great call again, and obviously I've been regularly on the show recently, and I'll have to clip up those that David Luiz chat we had during one of the watch-alongs. I think it was a semi-final actually, so yeah, it was a good laugh about that. Right, next caller. It is the bearded Gooner. Tanner, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, thanks, mate. You all right?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good indeed. And congratulations on your new show with the Same Old Arsenal podcast. Great news. Tell the listeners briefly, if they haven't heard the news, about what you've got lined up.
So thank you for bringing it up and the congratulations. Yeah, so the boys over at Same Old Arsenal, Craig, Dan Potts, Lee Judges, Harry Simeon, those guys have decided they want to expand the brand over here into the United States, and they've tapped me to be the host of the Same Old Arsenal USA show. So we'll be stay tuned. So stay tuned to my Twitter account. Also at Same Old AFC is the Same Old Arsenal Twitter account. We'll be putting up information on the first show there coming up. Hopefully here in about, I'd say, 10 days to 2 weeks' time, we'll be getting some information out.
That's fantastic. I really look forward to it. And I know that you've got a couple of other panel guests on there, regulars that we all love here on From Dial Square to Where as well. So, yeah, very much be looking forward to that. Yeah. Right. I mean, what do you want to delve into during your call here, Tanner? There's a lot to discuss. You can go the slightly less positive way, the slightly hopeful way, or the amazingly celebratory way after the weekend. It's entirely up to you, mate.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't discriminate on anything. So I will hit all three. 14-time FA Cup winners. Set the record again. Yeah, absolutely. And
Loved it.
For those for anyone that says the FA Cup doesn't mean what it used to, I Trophy is a trophy, and the FA Cup is the oldest national trophy in the world.
Absolutely.
And it's a fantastic feeling, an absolutely fantastic feeling, especially considering the way that the season started, the way that the season progressed into November and December. Just things looking just very bleak for the club, and to finish it with that trophy is just over the moon. Still, I'm still just beyond with it. So
Absolutely. So am I. I mean, what would you rather do? Finish sixth, like Spurs. Let's just use the Spurs as an example, right? Sixth, no trophy, and they celebrated that draw with Crystal Palace.
With Palace, yeah.
Like, imagine if that was us and the other way around. And then we finished eighth, but in our worst season for 2 or 3 decades, we get a trophy. Oh, and then by the way, we not only knocked Wolves out the Europa League as well, who finished above us, but Spurs have to play 3 games to get into the group stage of the Europa League they rib us about being in. I mean, seriously, what would you rather do? I mean,
there's no question. There's no question. That lot every single year.
Exactly.
They do. It's finish above us, and they don't care about anything else. And that's all well and good. And I a good friend of mine supports them for, I'll say, no good reason. Very hard.
Hang on there. Back up there. A good friend of yours? A good friend of yours? Jesus Christ.
He came into this game, meaning the football game here in America. He came in at a bit of a later stage as although the NBC company who broadcasts the Premier League games over here, he's gotten more into it, and there is a reason behind it. It's a whole story. It's actually quite a good story, to be honest with you. But I've tried to talk him out of it, and he's God bless him. He's loyal, just like me. So, but
that's
nobody's perfect, mate.
Exactly. We've all got our disabilities, That's
yeah.
But yeah, like I say, it dawned on me today. Like I don't know if you heard it earlier. I mentioned in a previous call with the top four. The top 4 of the league: Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Chelsea. Our last 4 results against them have all been wins. Every single one of them. We've beaten all of them in the last match we played against them. I don't remember that happening in years. Well, in living memory.
I couldn't tell you the last time it happened. That's for sure. So.
It certainly makes me really, really hopeful for next season, even as things stand.
We need to get the form against the lower tier clubs turned around, certainly. So I don't want to be, I am still buzzing from the cup win, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer with it, but I am hopeful. I am hopeful, and with a bit of an off season now, a little bit of a break, and I think and we can get back into proper training here shortly. I really do think Mikel Arteta is the man for the job, and I thought that before the trophy. The trophy solidified it, but I really do think he's the man for the job. So,
well, I'm only going to sort of take it to this sort of disappointing news just briefly, Tanner. Okay. Maybe we can quickly end it on a high again. But apparently, one of the people that's been made redundant is Francis Cagigao, who is the man who discovered Fabregas, Martinelli, Bellerin after 2 decades in the club. If that's the case, well, firstly, we don't know the ins and outs, and that was reported on the Daily Mail website, so it can take it with a pinch of salt. However, maybe, just maybe, this guy could be like a consultant. He may be going like a self-employed consultant who we can still call our call into use for our club. I mean, it doesn't mean that we can't use this guy ever again. Let me just try and get Kia Drabchin, which is a great example. Now, he is not, as I've mentioned a few times, he's actually not a registered agent. Mm-hmm. He is an advisor. Mm-hmm. But he works with clubs across the world. Mm-hmm. We're one of them, clearly. maybe he could do something similar. Maybe he could work with clubs and just sort of sell his services to who wants to use him. So we don't know. I'm just hyper.
Yeah.
You know, it's just an idea. So I don't want to get too wound up about this just at the moment, because it's just such a heavy news to get your head round. When you come in from work after the weekend we've just had, it's just a bit of a punch in the stomach at the moment, but we need to get more information. But I hope we can still use this guy, because clearly after 2 decades he's found us some great gems in the past, and it'd be a shame to lose his type of experience, won't it?
Yeah, for sure. I actually heard the news myself, and I was having a conversation with a few other guys on Twitter about this. And you don't want to jump off a bridge over it, because you don't know the ins and outs. And what I can tell you from what I understand, the lockdown and COVID and all this has hit our club hard. And you say, well, and the argument to that is our owners are he's a multi-billionaire. How on earth can he not withstand something like this? But at the same time, it is hitting every business hard, and we are not his only venture. And at the end of the day, if he, and I'm not saying this is right. I'm not necessarily defending Stan Kroenke or KSE, but I'm just sort of coming at it from a bit of a different angle. If he, I don't want to use the term bails out, but if he keeps us whole, he has to keep the Rams whole. He has to keep the Avalanche whole. He has to keep the Denver Nuggets whole, and any other business ventures that they have. It's kind of not fair to do for one of your kids and not the other. But it is disappointing to hear. And I'll be honest, I don't really like the direction that this is going. But when you need to make cuts because of payroll, you go to go ahead.
Exactly. Well, he is a business owner. Right, he's not an Arsenal fan, right?
True.
He's a business owner.
Right.
So you can't be expected, no matter what business you are involved in, to just keep subsidising that business and not make money.
Right.
So if you can keep on an even keel in this worst episode in history for business, let's face it, this is probably the worst business disaster, financial disaster ever.
It's unprecedented.
Exactly. So how can you expect to just keep making that business with no changes, match day staff, keep paying match day staff when we haven't got any match days to staff?
Right.
With stewards and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get away with keeping the business going in this environment, which is we're completely dependent on having people come through your turnstiles, and without having to put your own money in, you would do that, wouldn't you, as a business owner?
Of course. Yeah.
And it's not going to imminently affect the club massively by making these redundancies, because it's not going to be connected with the people on the pitch. So at the moment, it's disappointing, but you've got to think like that, haven't you? You've got to think, put yourself in their position and understand it that way. I think it makes it a bit easier to understand then.
I think just taking Kajagau, I think that's how you say it. But if you just take him and use him just in a very specific instance, the disappointment, I think, sets in with younger players, with younger talent out there that we're seeming to not really, I don't want to say not target, but maybe not identify. And we're not getting rid. There have been rumors out there that we've completely gotten rid of our scouting department. That's 110% not true. We still have a scouting department. You need scouts at the end of the day. Scouts identify players, and the direction that we're heading in with this Kia Jorachian, or however you say his last name, is
Kia Volkswagen.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Kia Volkswagen. I think we've put more of an emphasis right now on doing better from the agent relationship standpoint, because we've not been real good at that in past years. So we're scaling back on one end. We're trying to build up another, and then eventually what's going to happen is they're all just going to sort of even out. That's the hope. I don't necessarily agree with what Arsenal are doing, but I have no choice but to put my trust in them at this point, because I'm just the bearded Gooner. I don't have a say in this stuff.
Well, I think because I've listened to a few podcasts again today at work, as I always do. I think it was the Arscast that came out today, which was a Patreon podcast, and with James Benge, and I think it was that one. Apologies if it wasn't, but he said that they are moving full force forward with youth scouting. That is the primary focus at the moment with regards to that. So that's hopefully sort of ease your worries a bit about on that side, because I think that's what they're definitely not scaling back up. It's very impressive apparently across football how we are working to find the best youth prospects and just going for them at the moment. So hopefully we'll continue down that path. But anyway, is there just anything else you just quickly like to say? Have you got anything else coming up that you'd like to just quickly plug before we go? Or
I'll touch real quick. With Johnny there before I came on, you guys were talking about Willian and the Coutinho loan. All I'll say on them is I tend to look more at, and I don't know why I do this. I wish maybe I didn't, but I'm a little too analytical sometimes for my own good. I tend to. It's not just the player that I look at. I want to look at the financial aspect of it, given the way that we run our club, but I also want to know the term. So I heard it's a 2-year deal for Willian with an option for a third. I also heard the 3-year deal with the option for the fourth. I prefer the 2-year with the option for the third. I don't hate it. And I look at it like this. If we bring Willian in on a free, supposedly he's taking less to come here than what he was going to get at what he was making last year at Chelsea, which was 120,000 pounds a week. So if he's taking less, he's coming in on a free. The financials are going to make sense. If he comes in on a 3-year deal with an option for a fourth, anything we sell him for is that's money in the pocket. That's money to the good.
Exactly. People just seem to forget that we can actually sell players. They're just assuming he's going to be here till he's 35. So sorry.
No worries. But I like the signing. I'll live with it. It's not a bad signing, in my opinion, especially with it being on a free. The Coutinho loan. The only thing that worries me on the Coutinho loan is the loan fee, which I've heard is a reported £18 million. And if that's the case, put that money into the kit for somebody that's going to be here. Put that money to go buy Danny Ceballos and make that permanent.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Go buy Houssam Aouar out of Lyon in France.
100%.
Look at Saïd Benrahma at Brentford, or I know everybody's high on Jack Grealish. So
no, I would go. I'll be on his agent's phone today. Saïd Benrahma, after they got knocked out of the playoffs yesterday. I watched the playoff final yesterday, and he didn't have a good game yesterday, but he was still amazing.
And I'll say this: he did not have a good game yesterday, but I think he was the best player for Brentford.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and that I hate to say that, but
you can just tell. You can just tell very, very quickly about they've got the technical ability.
The only thing that worries me with Benrahma is he ready to make that big of a leap?
Well, we're not a Champions League club at the moment, are we?
True.
So
that's. But
we need someone of visibility between the lines, between midfield and the forwards. We desperately need that.
He's quick. He is lightning quick, and this may drive you nuts, and it may drive a lot of people nuts. But I'm going to say this, and the one thing that I saw with him is his touches on the ball reminded me a lot of a guy that just can't get into the side right now. The difference between the two, and you know who I'm talking about. For those that don't, Mesut Ozil, but the difference. I know the difference between the two players to me is Benrahma goes forward. Benrahma is constantly looking to get the ball forward, and he's
always moving, always ready to take the ball.
Moving, yep, and he tracks back. He was in his own end, winning the ball left and right yesterday. So, and here I am praising a guy that really didn't have a great showing. But, I could go on with this for days. But
no, honestly, he was in. I mentioned him in that transfer podcast I did a couple of weeks back, and I love the guy, and I really hope that we go in for someone like that. But it remains to be seen. Anyway, we'll have to move on, Tanner. I do
no worries, mate.
I apologise, but I've got a few people
worries.
still.
Sure.
Thank you ever so much for coming on, and
Of
good
course,
luck
man.
with your
Thanks for
show.
having
But
me.
good luck with your show, and hopefully I'll speak to you again soon. Before then, anyway. But
for sure.
take care.
Take care. Absolutely.
Take care. Bye. That was Tanner at the Bearded Gooner. Hopefully you'll be following. This is Alonso. How are you?
Hey Andrew, how you doing, man?
Yeah, good man, good. And just if you're listening, chappers, I'll get you on as soon as possible. Thanks ever so much for waiting, and thanks for your patience. Alonso, the weekend, 14 FA Cups. How are you feeling after that, my friend?
I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling pretty proud. I think Aubameyang shows that he's for real, even in big games. I think that his knock was that he didn't score in big games, and he came through for us. And
what a performance, eh?
Yeah, and I remember 2018 when we got him. I had him on my FIFA team, and every night we would get him was pretty crazy how we got him, and that was Arsene last present to us, right? So I mean, it was very impressive what he has done this whole time at Arsenal, and being a scoring machine for us, and bailing us out a lot of times now, and it's pretty awesome seeing him progress as now being a legend, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think he should be knighted. I mean, I'm not going overboard or anything, but the guy is incredible. I love everything about him, and I'm really excited about next season. And what's your thoughts at the moment about the Willian? Because it's very, very likely that we're going to be signing Willian. What's your thoughts on him?
Well, my first thought, honest with you, Andrew, is that here comes every Chelsea guy, coming on to our side, and people say, well, he's not really, he's past his prime or he's near that point in his career, but to me, he's won everything in that you could ask for in a player. He won Champions League, he's won multiple Premier League champion trophies, he's won FA Cups, he's won, I think, League Cups as well. So I mean, there's nothing you can ask for a player that is won, and I think he brings experience that would help Martinelli and Reece Nelson, our youngsters, and I think that for the club, I think,
Yeah, I've taken a complete U-turn. As you may have heard earlier in the show, I think it might be a good move now, and I think we need to get into our heads the fact that if we give him a 3-year contract, we don't have to keep him for 3 years. You know what I mean? If we get him on a free, then I'm sure we could still sell him and not lose out anything. Even if we do have to give him a sort of a signing on fee, etc. I don't think we could lose out if we sell him in a couple of years to the MLS or China or somewhere like that, because he will still be very much a wanted man, I'm sure, even in a couple of years' time.
And I think over there. And I think what's good about him is that he's resilient. So he would take well with, our David Luiz, and he knows Portuguese, so it'd be a good thing for Suarez as well, and Martinelli also. So, I think that it'd be exciting for him to be here. I think that, at first, he's coming from an arch rival, so you have your reserves about him. But I think with his experience, he could do wonders for our club.
Yeah, he is what we need in that sort of side of the pitch, that area of the pitch. Now, Tony Turner, thanks for watching, Tony. Really appreciate it. He's mentioning that it's a reported 10 million signing on bonus for Willian. I don't know. I mean, you can't believe everything you read, Tony, but I'm sure there'll be some. But I mean, 10 million seems quite excessive when he's looking at a salary of around, the 120 grand a week mark. It sounds a bit hefty. 10 million. I wouldn't be too keen on that, but maybe we need to sort of take that with a pinch of salt, because it depends where you see that reported. But overall, as a player on his own, I think between as an attacking midfielder who can roam anywhere across the front three, I think he would be just the sort of player we need. And I heard on the Arscast today that where would he play? Whose position would he take? Well, for me, clearly, it would be Lacazette's, because Lacazette is the one that's dropping into that space at the moment.
Right.
But Willian is a specialist in that role that Lacazette is trying to fulfil, but he's doing it very well. Don't get me wrong. But if you have a specialist in there instead of Lacazette, then, that could be ideal. Could be absolutely ideal. I mean, let's sort of move on to any other sort of targets. Now, what's your thoughts on the possibility, because it won't go away, this Coutinho link as well? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, to me, in my opinion, I think Coutinho to Arsenal kind of makes sense because we lack that creativity that we needed all season long, which we didn't have. And, I think that he'd be perfect in a three-man formation or three-man midfield. And, with whether it be Xhaka or whomever or Ceballos, I think he'd be a perfect attacking option for us coming down the middle, the number 10. And I think he brings a lot of both experience as well with being Liverpool and Barcelona and Bayern Munich. But however, he's got to prove himself. I think that he had been in the Premier League for 4 seasons, 3 years now. So I think he has lots to prove as well to see if he can still withstand the season of the Premier League, which is different from the Liga and the Bundesliga as well. So I think he could be a huge help to us as far as bringing creativity and bringing in assists to goals. So I think it'd be a good move for us. But however, at what price? So that's the scary part about it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's whether we go for one or the other as well, I think. Whether if we get Willian, do we still go for Coutinho? Or if we get Coutinho, do we still go for Willian? I don't know whether we need them both. That's the only thing it's in my head as well. But anyway, Alonso, I'm really sorry about... I'll have to move on. Got other people lined up. But thanks ever so much for coming on. I hope to speak to you again soon. It's at Mr. Robot Take 2, isn't it, on Twitter?
Yes, sir, it is.
Fantastic. Love that. Take care, Alonso. Really appreciate your time. Speak to you soon.
All right, have a good day. Bye.
And you. That's the great Alonso Spencer. Moving straight on to the next caller, and it is... Oh, the housewife's favourite. Oh, you got a haircut as well. Chappers. How are you, man?
Hello, mate. How you doing? Good to see your face, man.
I know. Well, thanks for waiting, and apologies to keep you hanging on there. But I really...
No, that's all right. It's good to see you also, man.
Yeah, exactly. The great Alonso Spencer. How are you anyway after the weekend? You have a good one?
The moon, mate. Oh, no, nothing much on, No, I'm over the moon, mate. I had to drive all the way back from Cornwall, towing a caravan, which is fun.
Oh, wow.
But I had the FA Cup on the radio, which is actually a new experience for me. No traffic jams, but I did have to pull over and do a little bit of celebration in the old lay-by.
Absolutely. Stretch your legs, do a bit of jumping up and down, springing about.
That Mr. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, though. I tell you. I mean,
unbelievable.
The master of football, the master of banter, and of course, most importantly, the master of hair.
Oh, great!
I mean, this man has not let lockdown. Hinder his sartorial elegance in the Barnet department, And
did you remember when he first came back to training after it, though? He looked a bit... I bet he was a bit embarrassed about those pictures. Yes.
I'll tell you what. He has a better forehead than Gervinho, and I would lick that forehead. I would lick it. Would you lick it, or you would lick his forehead?
If it made him stay, then potentially yes. If it made him stay. Stay in that thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe that's all he wants. Maybe he doesn't want to underground.
To be perfectly honest, and you can tell when a player's unhappy. He's not unhappy in a million years.
No.
And I think that sometimes things can get overblown about, oh no, he will want to leave. He will want to go and win trophies. He will want to do this. He will want to do that. Sometimes people actually like where they live. They don't want to uproot their families. They've got a whole network of family and friends around them. They just like living in London. Willian doesn't want to leave London because he likes London. He's got a business. He's got a restaurant with David Luiz, Willian, as well.
Really? I did not know that.
Yes, really. Yes, exactly. He's got business interests here as well. Sometimes people just want to stay. Yeah, I think that they're obviously good mates from, it's only going to do some, good to get even more people in this changing room that like each other, like each other, and actually be a good.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
And all
exactly.
just working towards one thing, the common goal, and all. I think that was the issue. That was a big, big issue with Emery, wasn't it? Is like nobody knew what the common goal was, But Arteta's come in. He's made it very, very simple, and the players have bought into it, and those that haven't, are clearly on the naughty step. So I've just actually. Sorry, go on, mate. Go on.
No, I was going to say I'm actually quite pleased about the thought of how Guendouzi and Ozil are feeling at the moment. I can't believe I just said that name, mate. But I hope they are miserable as you know what
they must be feeling really daft
because they've missed out big time, and they must be. I hope if they're not regretting, what they witnessed on Saturday, not being there, then they are. I'd never want them even near the building again, to be honest, let alone training back with the team. So
I mean, getting rid of Ozil is going to be a funny thing, isn't it? But do you know what? It is such a conundrum because the guy says 100% with all my heart, I love Arsenal. Right? If you love Arsenal that much, mate. If you love Arsenal that much, do us a fucking favour and fuck off out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what they say, the old saying, if you love someone, set them free.
Exactly, mate. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think I've got to the situation, right, where I know that he's not people keep saying we need to get him somewhere and just so we can share the wages. He would have to agree to that. He's not going to agree to it. Let's get that out of your head straight away. He ain't going to agree to a loan. He ain't going to agree to be sold. Full stop. So the only thing we can do is either pay him off, but I think it's highly unlikely we've got that sort of money now. Well, even though it's down to 10 months left of his contract, even so, I don't think we can afford to do that because it will take budget from elsewhere. So what I would do is put him on garden leave. Don't bring him into training. Nothing. And just stay at home. Don't come into training. I don't want to see you anywhere near. And just leave it like that.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because he's very, very much all about his brand. And if he is there, literally sitting, not even on the bench, if he's training away from everybody,
exactly,
and he's not doing anything, that's gonna damage his brand quite seriously, I would imagine.
Exactly. See how he likes it, because at the moment he's sitting there with his feet up, thinking he's got us over a barrel, and we're dancing to his tune, and he's loving it, absolutely loving it, because all he has to do every now and then is get his agent to come out and say he's happy, he's not going anywhere, he loves Arsenal. And he will sit there earning that money until the day that this contract literally ticks over the 12 o'clock mark and he's gone. And at the moment, he loves the fact that he thinks he's got us over a barrel. So let's just put him on garden leave at home where he can't train with the team, can't train with the club, and let him see what he wants to do. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be surprised if he then quickly, after a little while, finds himself a new club.
Yeah. All of a sudden,
there's been an opening. He's going to get unfit. He's going to get fat sitting in front of the Xbox eating crisps all day. And, he will suddenly realise that his brand is failing massively. So let's see what he does then.
I just wanted to say, actually, I mentioned to you earlier, I was preparing a salad. So I've prepared, it's called the Shiwara Yellow Ribbon Salad. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks very nice.
Basically, everything in it. It's white, it's red, it's yellow, but there's also some green in there, Andrew.
Seriously, you're really trying to crank up this housewife's favourite tag, aren't you?
What is that
look, I can cook as well, ladies.
Is it for the football field, or is it actually for the envy of our rivals as we lift the 14th FA Challenge Cup? I think that's what it is, Andrew. That's what it is.
I think so, Mr. Shumley-Warner.
Anyway, there was one other thing I did want to talk to you about. The defence, right? Yeah. The defensive squad, okay? Mm-hmm. So the squad depth of the defence, obviously, looking at the squad, okay, there's a lack of depth everywhere else except for in defence, okay? Yeah. So we have a glut of centre backs, okay, and realistically, what are we going to do? Okay, because we need to raise some funds. Obviously, there's a couple of chaps. I've checked the hair out already. The sound. There's a couple of chaps that we're interested in. The Gabriel fella and what's the other chap? Brazilian lad.
Gabriel's the Brazilian one.
There's another one. There's another one, also Brazilian. He's an absolute unit, mate. He's massive. Anyway, I forget his name.
Yeah,
but so we if we're going to get another centre backs, which everyone's crying out for, who are we going to sell? Okay, realistically, how are we going to raise those funds to get a centre back and also get a few people, sort of out the door and not out of sight, out of mind? What are we going to do? How are we going to do it?
Personally, you have to be realistic in that situation, and like I said in the previous call, you have to put yourself in the position of the business owner, Mr. Cronk.
Yeah.
So if we role play this just a second, you could be Raoul, pretend to us. I'll be Cronky. You actually approached me saying, "Look, can we buy a central defender?"
Can we get a central defender?
Well, let's look at this here roster here in front of me. Well, I see 9 central defenders. 9. What you gonna do with them? So we ain't gonna buy another central defender because we've got 9, and we ain't gonna sell enough to actually warrant a central defender. This is only my opinion. But you've got to be realistic sometimes. And we really light in midfield. We've got genuine need in midfield. And obviously it does depend how many we can get rid of. But let's go. We've got Mavropanos already out on loan. Pablo Mari is obviously injured. We've only just bought him. He ain't going nowhere.
When did he return?
September. He's supposed to be coming back into full training. So hopefully, maybe for the new season. If not, just shortly after. Yeah. So I see a Saliba, Pablo Mari long-term partnership at the back because
that would be nice.
David Luiz don't go anywhere.
He's signed. Yeah,
exactly.
Mustafi's injured.
Chambers injured. I don't think he'll go anywhere anyway. Mustafi injured. Very doubtful we're going to sell him this window.
Yeah.
So what are we up to? 6 or 7?
But we've got to get rid of someone somewhere.
Socrates come out and said, "I don't want to go anywhere because I'm happy with my money."
But he's got.
We've got Kolasinac. Maybe we can potentially get rid of Kolasinac.
That's some fundraising right there. Yeah.
And then we've got Rob Holding, and he's probably the one I really wouldn't want to get rid of, but he's probably the most likely one to go. But that's only one.
That's an Iwobi situation as well, isn't it? I mean, not everybody really wanted Iwobi to go, but we did some pretty shrewd business with him, and turns out actually it was probably the right idea. Yeah.
So Tony Turner's mentioned, A, you're missing your Sean Penn sunglasses, and B,
I broke them the other day, but I fixed them. It's all right. It's all good.
Not for once. Saliba, Luiz, Holding are the only fit ones since Socrates will be out the door. I don't know whether Socrates will be out the door, Tony, because he openly said again via his agent, he don't want to go anywhere. He's only got a year left on his contract, I believe. And why would he? He's on over, 100 grand a week. So we've got to get... one day we will get rid of all of this old, terrible decision-making and the contracts we've been giving out, and we will get things on an even keel. But at the moment, we're still not there. So Socrates, why would he go anywhere?
Well, yeah, I suppose that is, maybe a slightly pessimistic viewpoint. I mean,
it is, but I've been.
If the right offer came in,
why wouldn't I be? Why wouldn't I be? It's happening to us all the time.
True. But I mean,
if only we brought. Sorry, I do beg your pardon. If only we brought some players that actually had some pride and actually did want to go and play somewhere else. Even if they have to take a little bit of a wage cut, like Mikel Arteta did when he came to us.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I was just reading about that today. About the fact that I've forgotten about that he took a pay cut, and basically that was pretty much when he was on the bus, to Arsenal, and they said, oh well, you have to take a pay cut, and he went, yeah, all right, and
Amazing.
apparently
That's the
the
attitude.
players lobbied Wenger and said, look, this guy's done so much for us, he needs to be on an even kill, so.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't got any players. Well, I say we haven't got any players with attitude. I'm sure we have probably at some point. But when we give people like Socrates these stupid and Kolasinac, it's easy to get rid of him because he's on 120 grand a week, and we're talking about bringing Willian in, who's a multiple winner.
Yeah,
and he's going to be on the same wages potentially as. It just doesn't bear thinking about. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So I really, really, really hope we can get rid of Socrates, Kolasinac, and maybe, just maybe, Mustafi if we win all the lotteries in the world.
Maybe
because sometimes you can buy players who are injured because we do that as well. By the way, we buy players with broken backs and all sorts of stuff. So it can happen, but very unlikely. But the only one we could potentially get is one that Tony's mentioned. There is Sarr on a free.
Oh yeah, Malang Sarr, yeah.
Yeah, Malang Sarr, potentially. But again, is there I don't know whether you get that sort of free because of the amount of numbers we've got. I don't know. Maybe we can loan some players out if we need to.
Well, that's
at the end of the day. It's not our job, is it? We've employed this Penfold-looking, idiot to run our football business, and it's down to him. He's got to put it all out of the bag, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, let's hope Don Raul can sort all this stuff out, because exactly that's what he's been brought in to do. So come on, Raul, sort your shit out.
Earn your money.
Anyway, mate, I've got to put my kebabs on.
I know. I've got to move on to the next caller anyway, and but thank you ever so much. Really enjoyed it.
So lovely to see you, man.
Cap and Chapman.
Take care.
Take care. Speak to you very soon, my friend. Speak to you very soon.
Aye.
You're a top man. Right, we move on to, I believe, the last caller, and that is Stan the Man, another Housewife's favourite. How are you, my friend?
I'm very well, Andrew. And yourself?
Not too bad at all. Really appreciate you calling in and your time, and I'm very happy to talk to you on this. Well, great time after the weekend. I'm not looking at the negatives. I'm not looking at no, don't exist. But we are the holders of the FA Cup again. The 10% of all FA Cups, we hold them all. I think we should just keep this one.
It's fantastic, isn't it? I mean,
it was brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, did you get the same sort of feeling as really enjoying the game like I did? Even though I was a bit unsure how I was going to feel watching an actual FA Cup final with no people in the stadium, I was actually really surprised that it actually still felt really quite on edge, and I was enjoying the match.
Well, you watch football since I've moved over here to Canada, Andrew. You kind of watch football in a different way. So for yourself, when you woke up on the morning of the match, you've had time to ease into your day, have a breakfast, do a few things, and then get yourself relaxed and get some cold out of the fridge. For me, it's almost like a Christmas morning, because I go to bed at night knowing that when I wake up at 8:30 in the morning, the match starts in an hour.
I'm jealous though, because it's the worst thing. At 5:30 kickoff. Why the hell I didn't have it on at 3? Makes no sense. Anyway, but 5:30 is a long time to wait, mate, for an FA Cup final. The whole day is just wasted, just with anxiety, thinking, what the hell's going to happen, waiting for it to kick off. Luckily, just briefly, sorry, I'm butting, but luckily on BBC iPlayer, they had the whole day leading up to the match with FA Cup stuff. There's a special
like in the old days, like they used to.
Yeah, a special channel they set up which had all the sort of the pre-FA Cup build-up on it, and that was really good. So when I discovered that, it made the day a bit better. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I cut in, so do continue.
No, I was just saying. I mean, what you said there, I wish they still did that on the BBC, like they used to do when I was young. I heard Johnny Button say earlier, and I'm of the same thought. For me, the FA Cup is still a very special trophy.
Yeah, me too.
It is the oldest football trophy, in the sport, and it should be revered. But just going back to what I was saying, so getting up in the morning, wolfing some toast down, and then before you know where you are, you're in front of the TV watching the game. And I was extremely nervous for maybe the first 15 or so minutes, and when Chelsea scored their first goal, because up until that point they were kind of playing us a little bit off the park. Pulisic was all over the place. It was literally tiptoeing through our defence and around our red shirts, and I was really worried. But I mean, the way that it all panned out, I said it on another podcast, it was almost like, if there's such a thing as football gods, they were with us every step of the way.
Oh, mate, honestly, everything happened at the right time.
That were giving us trouble. They were making the referee see things that weren't there. I mean, the acting masterclass that Xhaka put in to get that second yellow, to get their play was fantastic. I mean, everything was in favour.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, honestly. We haven't had that for years, mate. I mean, and everyone was going on about, Chelsea was so unlucky with injuries, but I know they were. I mean, I actually felt a little bit of empathy with them at one point, but what happened to us against Man City? People forget that.
I was just about to say, Andrew, the amount of times, how many football matches have you watched where we got undone, not through something that we done on the pitch, but through a really bad decision or a terrible injury that's totally sort of, knocked our game plan out. It happens all the time. And I just felt that the football gods said, you know what, it's time to cash in. Everything that we've done, you can have it all back in this game.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So that everything is now balanced again, even, but you can have it in this one game. And I'll take that. Because when you look back at the history books, it ain't going to have none of that written in there. It's just going to have the final score and that we've won it for the 14th time. But there was so much riding on this game going into it. It wasn't just winning the FA Cup. There was so much at stake for me, which made the night before, it made the butterflies in my stomach even more so, because had we not won that game, I fear that, to attract certain players, Thomas Partey's name is mentioned, and to get players to recommit to the club, players like our captain, Aubameyang, it may have been a little bit more of a difficult, right? Now that we've won that and we've got ourselves back into Europe, okay, we're not at the big table, but we're still into Europe now, which can now lead to a gateway to get back at the top table. It's got to make bringing in players that we want and getting someone like Aubameyang to commit to the club, it's got to make it that little bit more closer, right? I like to think.
Yeah, 100%. You know what? People may mock me. I don't care less. I am that confident under our manager. I genuinely believe we'll get top four next season. I'm not saying we're going to, go for the title or anything like it, but I would be shocked if we're any more than about 15 points off the eventual winners. Genuinely, I think we'll be. But and I'll say one other thing. I think we've got a massive chance of actually winning the Europa League under Arteta as well.
Yeah, I mean that I would agree with, but I mean the top four, I think for me is Mikel Arteta, whatever the remit he was given when he got given the job, he must have surpassed it. Obviously, they were probably hoping that he could salvage what the mess that Unai Emery left behind and get us into Europe in some shape or form. But to do that and to also deliver a trophy, he must have gone over and above whatever the board was expecting. So he's kept up his end of the bargain, and even more so. So it's now the ball is now firmly placed in the court of the board to do their part. Mikel's done his bit.
100%. Yeah.
They've now got to look at that and say, okay, he has delivered. Now we've got to continue and do our part, because I do think that if we are going to make a play for the top four, I do think that there are some deadwood that needs to be cleared and a couple of upgrades that need to be made. And from what I'm seeing on social media today, it looks like 3 signings are in the bag, right? It looks like Willian, Coutinho, and the defender from Lille, Gabriel, who I don't really know anything about at all. It looks like all 3 of those seem to be in the bag from what I'm seeing.
Gabriel is another Jarabchin player. And
there's a surprise.
He's absolutely ain't going to be cheap, apparently, either. I mean, we're talking, depending on where you read it, between 50 and 70 million. Again, similar to sort of Pepe levels of money. And
No, I thought
the thing is that
it was 27 million. No.
Well, no. This is what I'm reading. I mean, I can't. Do you know what? I'm just going to completely take myself away from it all on Twitter, because I think that it's going to be even worse than ever this summer. Honestly, genuinely, I'm going to say it's going to be what will be will be. But yeah, it depends. The reports are different all over the place. Anyway, but the guy that Lille, we used to work with Raul, didn't he, at Barcelona? So there is a potential chance of actually doing that deal, and it does look good. But I can't see it. Like I said in the last call, how can we sign more defenders if you put yourself in their shoes when we've got so many already? You know, and I can't see us getting rid of enough.
We've got so many, but it doesn't seem that no matter what combination Mikel Arteta puts them out.
Honestly, I know
there doesn't need to be a pairing that looks solid enough. Do you know what I mean?
You don't need to tell me. Honestly, I know that, and we all know that. But I'm trying to be a little bit realistic with it, because if you put yourself in their shoes, signing off another central defensive signing with the amount that we got, it's difficult, isn't it? It's really difficult.
There must be a lot of outgoings. I mean, I've been reading
I hope
that.
so.
I was surprised to read that Holding was on the outgoings list.
Me
I was
too.
surprised to see that, to be fair with you. You know, I felt that there's still maybe with a little bit more work and just a little bit more polishing from Arteta that he could be.
I think he's a good player. I still want to keep him. But because we've got so many injuries, I'm sure 100% we were going to get rid of Mustafi, but now he's I don't know how long he's going to be out. And we've got other injury concerns there as well. Socrates came out and said that he don't want to go anywhere.
Mustafi did that as well, didn't he? We do have players that do say, I don't want to leave, but I mean...
Well, they won't know. They won't know because they want so much money. You know, it's just ridiculous.
Of course. I mean, if Socrates goes somewhere else, he's not going to get the same money he's on or go up. He's going to go down.
Exactly.
You know? He's going to go down a level.
And he's 31, so why would he? This is what I mean. I'm just trying to be realistic here. So it's going to be tough. But listen, like I said, it ain't our job. This is why we brought Raul on. We've got to leave it to him. And if he don't deliver, seriously, that's when I really will get angry and worried, because Arteta is just. I've got so much belief in Arteta, and his ceiling is just phenomenal. I think he could be literally one of the best coaches in world football in a few years' time. I genuinely believe that, and what he's done is just nothing short of a miracle. And if Pep is not going to stay much longer after this year, is he? At the next season at Man City, and maybe a couple more years if they're lucky. And there's no way that it ain't going to go after Arteta, you know. And he's going to continue showing everyone how good he is because he keeps doing it. And like I've said a couple of times earlier in the show, we beat the top four. In the last time we beat all the top four, we've beaten them in the last match we played against them. And how long ago does that happen? I don't think it ever has happened, does it? Well, in the Premier League era. You know, it's just mad. And it's only going to go one way with Arteta. And people just underestimate him. I genuinely believe, even if we don't sign anyone, we've got a very good chance of getting top four next season under him because of the way that he gets this team sorted. You know, if we are only looking at from the time that he joined Arsenal, we would be in the top four comfortably. And that's been parachuted into the worst possible situation you've ever seen at Arsenal. Yeah, with the worst motivated squad ever, only going one way. Couldn't even see where our next point was coming from when he joined, don't forget. He sat on the bench, watched us against Man City in probably one of our worst performances of the Premier League era. And in this short space of time, he's turned it around that quickly. It's just mad. And people don't realise how good this guy is. So we've got to back him to keep him. And that's the problem. And that's what's really worrying.
I thought it was such a gamble when he came in. It was a big gamble to put somebody in charge, you know, that
without doubt.
Actually hasn't had that first man job of being the main guy in charge of the team. It was a hell of a gamble because, you know, with some of the, you know, the numbnuts online who were sort of going, you know, Arteta out. My worry was if it doesn't work, you know, if this gamble doesn't pay off, where would you actually go from there? Because You know, we've gone Arsene Wenger, who's what I would call the elite league of managers. And then from Arsene Wenger, we went down into that next tier with Unai Emery. You know, he was sold to us as somebody that would steer us through the Europa League and get us back into the Champions League. And that didn't work. So from that next tier down, where did we go? We then took a huge gamble and went with a guy that had never done the job before. So if that didn't work, or, you know, the numbnuts, they've got their wish, where do you go from there? Because you can't just spring back up to the top tier. You probably wake up the next morning and you've got Sam Allardyce sat in the manager's office or something like that, right? So it was a gamble, and it was much in the same way that bringing in Arsene Wenger was a gamble, because we'd never heard of him, and that was before social media days. We didn't know what was going on in Japan. I didn't know there was a football club in Japan called Grampus 8.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, people were mad when we took on George Graham, weren't they? They went mad.
So it's a gamble, and I kind of liked it. I raised my eyebrows and said, "Well, this is a gamble," but I like a ballsy gamble. I actually like a bit of a ballsy gamble. So I'm so glad that it's paid off, because winning an FA Cup in the circumstances, I mean, the guy was struck down with the pandemic himself and managed to beat that, and then he's in this new job to win an FA Cup. It's no mean feat at all, and you've got to take your hat off to him for it.
It's incredible. I know, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, Stan, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been really glad that you've joined us tonight. Thank you ever so much.
Thanks,
I'm going to have to move on. I've got 2 more to get through, and it's been a pleasure. Hope to speak to you again very, very soon.
I'll speak to you
Stan
soon.
the man. Take care. Bye-bye. Right, Rowan, I'll be with you in just one short while, if that's okay with you, mate. And just got Ryan.
Hello.
Thanks for waiting, Ryan. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yeah, no worries. It's fine. I was running late anyway, so it's fine.
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, still happy. Still buzzing on the FA Cup win. Love seeing the Salty fans. So especially Spurs fans. It's ironic how we played Chelsea in the final, and it's Spurs that are more upset.
I know, exactly. But you know what? I mean, just the best thing, almost the best thing about the whole day was the Olivier Giroud thing when he got shot by a sniper off the roof. In fact, Emily Sandé must have shot him from the roof after singing that song at the beginning. But the noise he made, did you hear the noise?
Oh no, I saw the slow-mo as well.
So absolutely hilarious. I still find that funny now. I've watched it a few times today again. It's just hilarious.
And the Oscar,
that'll be a gift forever.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just couldn't. I mean, all the decisions that went for us in that game, a lot of them justified, a couple not justified, as we know. But I literally couldn't believe it. I turned around at my son. I thought, we got away with that. You know, all this and we got that. And do you know, I said in the last call, I said the only time I actually felt a little bit of sympathy for them was with Pulisic, because I've got to take he's one of my favourite players at the moment. Honestly, I think he's going to be better than. I think he's going to be better than Eden Hazard eventually, because he's only 22 or something, isn't he? He's got a lot of improvement to do.
Yeah.
But you've got to take your hat off to him when his hamstring went and he just carried on running for a little while and actually still took the shot. You know, I mean, my hamstring's gone before, and I'll tell you what, you know, it's like being stabbed. It's like being stabbed in the back of your leg. The pain. I don't know if you've ever had it done, but it's honestly really painful. You had it last week. Oh man. Oh, I've got sympathy. Did you carry on running and take a shot after it?
I went to do a spin class the next day.
Saying nothing but a flesh wound. Yeah. What's that film for? Saying nothing but a flesh wound. I can't remember, but yeah. Anyway, I mean, I had a lot of respect for him for that, and I actually punched the air, and I felt quite bad about it afterwards. But I punched the air when his hamstring went. I can't lie, but that was a big turning point in my opinion. But Pepe. I mean, we haven't discussed Pepe at all today.
What performance?
What a goal! I mean, seriously. I mean, what a goal he scored! That would have been the best FA Cup final goal of all time, I think.
Yeah, that would have actually bettered Sanchez's goal from 2015.
Oh well, yeah, definitely. I mean, the only comparable one I was thinking of afterwards, maybe Santi's free kick potentially.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even
was
that
dead
wasn't
cool.
quite as spectacular, was it?
No.
It just like the review of it from the behind the goal, and Caballero didn't even move.
No.
1 second. He was in the back of the net before we realised.
The sheer power he put behind that shot as well. You compare it to Santi as well, but Santi was a dead ball situation as well, where this was coming at him. He just hit it first time.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's just a brilliant goal. I felt so sorry for him. What that could have done, honestly, if that had flown. But anyway, I think.
But the thing is, it didn't let him get him down. He got up and continued, and the whole 90 minutes had a fantastic performance.
Well, exactly, and this is the thing, right?
We've
already been discussing Arteta. Yeah, I know. We've been discussing Arteta, obviously, throughout this evening, and there's so many things that keep sort of, and that, but it's just that I just think that what goes unnoticed really is the improvement in every single player as well. Because it's just. You can't quite get your head around it. But I'm going to take the opportunity now, because I never do it. Anyone that's been watching any of my videos, I never do this. But I'm going to blow my own trumpet for a little while, because right from the very word go, I've been backing Ceballos. There's very few people that have. But I've noticed, and everyone's realising now how good he is. And exactly the same with Pepe. I backed him right from the word go. And do you know what? I'll make a bold statement here, and people will realise it in the not too distant future. But I think he's actually probably our best player, Pepe. He's our most technically gifted player, without a shadow of a doubt.
Off you go. It just takes a bit of confidence.
Without a shadow of a doubt, his technical ability is unmatched by many at all. You can just see it straight off how good he is, and. Next season, it's going to be. But I've been saying all along, and this is the point I was going to make as well. But it's moving more centrally, and the way that we've set up now, we've got the left side sorted, and the balls are going to Aubameyang, and he's just ripping people to shreds, and he's loving every single second of it. What we need to do now is do exactly the same for Pepe on the right.
Yeah. And
instead of Lacazette doing the job where, this false nine type of, 10-ish role that he's doing at the moment. If we do have a player, a specialist in that role, like Willian or what's his name from Brazil?
From Bobby. Oh, what, from Barcelona? Oh, bloody hell.
The one we're talking about, Coutinho.
Coutinho, sorry, yeah.
Brain. If we had a specialist in that hole rather than Lacazette, and to sort of cover that area, then we could actually just have Pepe in almost like a 4-2-3-1 type of scenario, or a 4-3-3 with one of the front three dropping a bit deeper. We can have Pepe and Aubameyang doing exactly the same things on both sides. It'd just be incredible. So I'm very, very excited about next season. What's your predictions for next season? Because someone that was just so I'll just have to say, bear with me, Rowan, because Rowan was due to be on earlier. Unfortunately, he had to drop off, but he's back on now, so I'll have to sort of move on to Rowan fairly soon. But if you go on to next season, what are your sort of expectations for next year? Because I'm quite positive about it, I have to say.
Well, currently on the back of an FA Cup. This is the thing. I keep saying about Arteta since he's come in. This is why, even though he wasn't my first choice, I always got behind him. And he's proved me right every week, match day. We're not the results. We're going to come down later down the line. We all know that it's time. This is a squad under the previous manager. We saw we were falling apart. We were literally in a relegation battle when Arteta came in. Basically, he got us 8th, which ain't great, by the way. And he's even said that's not 8th in a cup isn't great, but he got us just outside the European spots, and he won us a cup. When he came in, that's what I said. I've been saying. Who would have thought when he came in, we'll be in a cup final and win that cup final again against the opposition that battered us the previous season in the European final?
Do you know what? I hate to say it, but I genuinely think if we hadn't let that 119th minute goal in against Olympiacos, I could genuinely see us
Europa as well.
winning that Europa this season.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put, because I genuinely think that could have happened.
Yeah, especially in the circumstances of what is now They're going to do one-off games, isn't it? It's literally a one-off game, so it's
Exactly.
more chance of us we could have won it, but it is what it is.
But it's like you say, if my nan had
going
a cock, it should be my granddad. So we can't think like that, can we? But
no, but going into next season on the high of that, and if the board do right by him and get him the players that he's asking for, but which by the looks of it they are doing in Coutinho, Willian, the guy from Lille, Gabriel, and a few other, and Partey, or someone of that ilk, or Decore, or whatever. We can be challenging for third or fourth next season, and then from that, use that as a platform then again to build up for the following season and possibly start challenging again for the title.
Yeah.
Not actually winning it, challenge for it, and then build from
exactly. That's what we want, and we've got to aim for the top. And he won't accept anything else. I love what he said. You just mentioned it, saying, yes, we've won the cup, but we finished eighth, and it's not good enough still. And I love that about him. He's very transparent and open, and he just doesn't hide anything, does he?
And that attitude he has, that mentality he has, is now rubbed off on, as I said, the players since he's walked through the door. And the longer, if anything, the lockdown actually benefited him more because he got more, even though the way it was all on screen, he had more chance to communicate with the players one-on-one and things like that and get his ideas across even more so.
Yeah, exactly. And one more point I will make, and I do apologise, Ryan, that we haven't had as long as I would have liked. Being the first show of this type that I've done, it's obviously I need to sort of take a bit more of a control over the timings, but I think it's been great. I'd love to spend a bit more time talking to you. But one other thing I was going to say, and if you listen back to one of my podcasts I did after the Europa League final last year, and I was absolutely fuming. I wanted him gone. Obviously, I didn't hide my feelings on Emery, and I mentioned at that point that what disappointed me so badly was that we went. I've said this so many times, but we went in at half time ahead on points in that final against Chelsea in Baku. We were a slightly better team. Wasn't much in it, but I think we were ahead on points. Came out within a minute. We'd conceded a goal and we lost 4-1. And my point was that what the hell did Emery do in that half time? That is why you pay the big bucks to have a proper coach and a proper manager to give that team talk at half time, to make that team go out there and run through brick walls in the second half and win that game. He didn't do it. He just didn't earn his money. Now, you see with Arteta, even during a 1 or 2 minute drinks break, the difference he makes in that time. He is earning his money more than anything else, more than any other coach or manager in the Premier League. The differences he makes during that 1 or 2 minutes. How does he do it? I mean, it's just a phenomenal skill that he's got, but he does. And it was the first half in the cup final was a half of two halves, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it was madness.
I did say this in my stream. I was like, the first half of the first half, we were lucky to be 1-0.
I'm going to bring just 1 second. I'm going to bring you in, Rowan. Rowan, can you hear me?
What's up, guys?
Hello there. Hi there. How are you doing? I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting. Ryan, finish what you were saying just then.
Yeah, so basically what I was saying was how the fact we got to that first half at 1-0 into that water break was so beneficial, because if we got it 2-0 or whatever, because it could have been with the way Chelsea were going at us at that time, that's a whole different team talk. But the fact it's 1-0 makes Arteta's job even easier. And he saw straight away the second the water break ended, we were a completely different team from now on in. For the rest of that match, we were the better team. And that, again, as he said, he's earning his money. And this is a guy, when he's come in, not just our fan base, fans in our own fan base, but fan bases all over the world and in the league are like, oh, what have Arsenal done? What have Arsenal done? This guy's got no experience. And as you mentioned with Stan, I was backstage listening to you, this club famously has always gone against the grain. George Graham from the second division, what was the second division back then, with Millwall to Arsenal, we were, as you know, the top league. Arsene Wenger from Japan, no one even heard of him.
Well, even Bruce Rioch was from Bolton. Bolton Wanderers, wasn't he?
Bruce Rioch for a season from Bolton. Unai Emery, He hasn't managed. He's at
From
PSG, but PSG,
under a rock somewhere, you know.
Yeah, but PSG. Yeah. But I could manage PSG and win what he's at. Come on, look with the funding they have. So
I know.
Transylvania.
Well, he's the only person in living memory who hasn't won the league with PSG. I mean, that is just mental. Jesus Christ, you know. I mean, anyway.
Yeah. And he had
Rowan,
Neymar, so cool.
I hope you're safe driving along there in sunny New York or wherever you are.
I have the wife driving, so.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh,
I've
very
taken
nice.
the passenger seat. Yes.
Very nice indeed.
We're out and about, so.
Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you on, and congratulations for this new Same Old Arsenal show that you're going to be part of. I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm excited. You know, it's such a great show. I've been a big follower of that, and then, you know, when I got the opportunity to be on that panel, and I'm ecstatic.
Exactly. Well, I'm just gutted that we're going to lose you from ours because clearly, I've told you a million times, I love you, Rowan. I love you. Anyway, congratulations.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to keep badgering you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, brilliant. I'm glad to hear it. Rowan, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what's been going down the last few days. It's just been a bit of a whirlwind from right up there, isn't it, right to a little bit down here today with this sort of news. I mean, I don't know what to make of it at the moment because I haven't had time to digest it. I've been at work all day and then come back in. I've just seen the news about the redundancies and Francis Cajagao, who's been apparently sacked, according to the Daily Mail. I mean, what's your thoughts on all that, first off?
It's sad, isn't it? Like, because I'm sure that these guys are match day staff. They're, you know, from the shop, Arsenal shop, etc., and you know, making those people redundant when we're paying such high salaries to our players is just, you know, I wouldn't expect a club like Arsenal to do that. You know, I would have expected, you know, the players to just contribute a fraction of their salary, and you know, that could have made up for.
Well, supposedly they did, didn't they? They 12.5%. That's what it was supposed to have been for.
These guys. I mean, I'm gutted to hear that.
Well, I mean, if you think about
really,
it, did it potentially? I mean, we don't know yet. Everyone is speculating. Potentially, they could be these. Because they specifically mentioned we're going to keep on our casual staff up until a certain date. I can't remember the date they mentioned at the time, but we're going to guarantee that we're going to keep on all of our casual staff and match day staff until this date. Maybe a lot of them are those casual match day staff and stuff because they would still have to be made redundant, wouldn't they? I mean, we don't know at the moment. We're speculating.
Yeah, that's true. But any person being made redundant at this time, you know, is not great, right? You don't want to see anyone lose a job over something that they've not done. And
it'd be more understandable, though, wouldn't it? If they're casual match day staff, for example.
It would be. See,
we haven't got any match days to cover, so
No, exactly. No, I do understand. You know, I work in the corporate world, and you know, I understand how these things work. You know, and as a lawyer, sometimes my job is to sort of do these things. But you know, I'm not a big proponent of that. I always feel like corporate should make an effort to, you know, as much as possible to not have, you know, these situations. You know, sometimes it's out of reach, and sometimes it's just business decision and business sense. And you know, when you're in that boardroom, you have a different set of responsibilities. You have responsibilities to your shareholders, etc. I'm talking as a fan, and I'm talking as a club that I take a whole lot of pride in because we've been classy, we've been true to our values, and somehow I feel like we're just losing that a little bit, you know, and I mean, I just don't get a good feeling about it. That's the reality. I understand it, but I don't condone it.
I'm just trying to make sense of it, really, and I'm trying my best to put myself in a position, like I said a few calls ago, with a business owner, and I'm trying to remove myself from the Arsenal situation and the fan situation at the moment, put myself in the role of a business owner. And if you are running a business that's reliant on people coming through the turnstiles and paying an entry fee, and you can't do that anymore, it doesn't make sense to pay people to actually staff that stadium when there's no matches, well, there are matches going on there, but you know what I mean. We don't need stewards and all that sort of stuff. So why would you carry on paying someone like that as a business owner, not as an Arsenal fan, as a business owner? Why would you carry on paying the people to do that, to sit at home when it's not possible for them to work, not physically possible for them to work? And if you can say to your shareholders and everyone else that we've been paying these people now for 6 months, or not quite 6 months, but 4 months maybe.
Yeah.
Enough's got to be enough to cut a sentence short. Enough's enough, really, isn't it? You can't carry on doing that inevitably. So I can understand if it is that type of staff. I can understand, and I'm just trying to put myself in their position because I want to make a bit of sense of it, and I don't want to start feeling like crap again about the club because. It's such a shame after the weekend we've had. I don't want to start feeling like I hate the club again at the moment because.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree, and hopefully all of these people get a good redundancy fee. The severance that they get is going to be like I know the pressure that they would go through because this is not a time where the market is booming and there's plenty of jobs, right? So a lot of people are going to find it difficult to make ends meet, and hopefully. Arsenal will give them enough, severance for them to be able to carry on with their lives comfortably. That's the best that we can hope for, right? I completely understand as a business why the decision is made, but when we talk about Arsenal, I think from the heart, and my heart says that if these are indeed people who whoever these people are, I'm sure they cost a fraction of what a lot of our players cost who don't play on a regular basis. And I'm not even blaming anyone. I don't want to put a dampener on this whole situation, but somehow that's how I felt, really.
Yeah, and the same as me. Sorry, Ryan, you say something.
I was going to say, assuming most of this 55 is, as you said, Andrew, the match day staff, and obviously you also got to take into account the Finsbury Park store's been closed down, so there's going to be a few there as well. But say most of it is coming from match day staff at the 55. What hasn't helped?
We must have loads and loads and loads of staff on every match day. I mean,
exactly. And what's that help? Because you've got the programme sellers all around the ground, box office, your staff in the stadiums, not just upper tier and lower tier. You've got the actual corporate as well.
Yeah.
There's like 50 plus staff in the corporate, so
stewards.
But as I was saying, what's not helping, not just Arsenal, other clubs as well, is how the UK government are handling the situation over in the UK, in the sense of they started trying in a certain amount of fans in a certain sporting events, like there's like 1,000 in the cricket last week. Then suddenly,
I just think that's pointless, don't you?
Yeah, and then suddenly, because for some bizarre reason, I'm assuming it's down to there's a spike in the area of where they did their test. No, not doing it now. They're delayed to the 15th. So now the club, where we all had a date in place initially, that date's now gone out the window because now everything's gone back. Everything's 2 weeks behind. So now we've got to wait for that 2 week period to go and start again.
The second wave's going up everywhere as well, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. And because of that, no club knows now when we can start letting fans in.
Exactly. So you've got to understand the situation they're in, and
I'm sure the sort of club Arsenal we've all believe Arsenal are. When everything gets back to normal and the fans are allowed to come in, and we're all back to where it used to be, then people we've laid off, match day staff wise,
of course,
we'll be given first refusal to come back.
Of course, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I was actually really gutted when I came out of work and I saw this news and I thought, oh my God, it's just what we don't need at the moment. But then you've got to reflect on things sometimes, and you can't.
In the grand scheme of in the grand scheme of things as well, in recent weeks, we've seen other bigger corporate companies because the RFU, people that run rugby union, they've laid off a couple of last week or the week before over 250 or 350 of their staff, like that. British Airways have done the same throughout the whole summer. We've been trying to. As soon as the lockdown got eased off, thousands.
Well, exactly, and say for example, you know, in New York, you got some hot dog sellers on the corner of the streets, for example, and you ran out of hot dogs. So you wouldn't send a hot dog seller out as a, you know, if you hired someone as a hot dog seller to go and stand there for the day, would you? To sell hot dogs if you didn't have any hot dogs to sell. And I'm not, you know, it's a similar analogy. I don't know, but you know, you can't do that indefinitely, can you? You know, you can't employ that person to sell hot dogs for another three or 4 months if they haven't got any hot dogs to sell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, a real life example is the place where I go to get a haircut, right? My salon. You know, I went there a day before they shut all the salons, and then I went there maybe a couple of days after they reopened it. But it was like it was for 2 months. They were out, maybe more. And then a lot of the guys that I used to regularly see there were not there, and they had to let go of people, you know. And I completely understand that, you know. And local businesses, etc., have more of my sympathy, really, though, than big corporates. And I told you, I understand the business, you know. I understand how it goes and the reasons behind it. You know, you can't really. Nobody's trying to be evil here, but you know, it is somebody's livelihood that is going, and that's never a good thing, right? Like, I mean, that's what I feel. What would be great is, like Ryan said right here, that if these people are, first thing is that they're given a sizable severance. That's one. And second is they're assured that you will get first right of refusal to this job when the job's returned. You know?
I mean, you know, you've got to think that should be really just a given. I think that's got to be the situation, you'd imagine. But the worrying one is the
Tony
scouts.
says,
but
Tony's
exactly, yeah. Tony's just put it in the message box there. But I think that the scouts that we let go a while ago, I don't know when it's actually before lockdown, maybe. It was quite a while ago. We let a batch go, but that was because of leaving the EU. That was because of Brexit. Those ones, because of the change in the Brexit laws. And with the Francis Cajagao, that's a concerning one. However, it doesn't mean that he's, like I said earlier in a few calls, I don't know if you heard it, but it potentially, and again, it's just a potential thing, because I think it's always sensationalised, especially in the Daily Mail. But potentially he's still going to work for the club on a self-contract basis, maybe. You know, you don't know, do you? He could be working as a consultant for a number of clubs across Europe, and we pay him when we need to use him. So it doesn't mean we've lost that relationship after 20 years. It could just mean we do things in a different way. So I wouldn't panic too much yet, because you know, we don't know the full story, do we?
Exactly. I mean, and the way this has been a stressful season for everyone. You know, this is, in my memory, this is the worst season that we've had, and you know, just for a number of factors, really, not just the league position, but the events that have happened. You know, somehow it was a chore to watch Arsenal in the beginning of the season, and then you had the whole Xhaka situation. Then, you know, Emery was like a goner. You know, all of these things happening, and then we finally had something to celebrate in the last few weeks, and then, you know, capping it off on on the weekend, and then we heard this, which is
exactly,
not,
and that was a bummer, wasn't it? It's a bummer after the weekend we've had. But we're going to start sort of finishing up. Firstly, Rowan, that salon you said that you go to, it sounds like the sort of place where you have your feet in a bowl of fish. Is that right?
Not quite, but I'd like to go to a place like that if they start offering. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, foot massage afterwards with oil and lotion rubbed into your feet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is just a hot towel place.
and secondly, just give us quickly your thoughts on both of you. Oh, actually, Rowan, you give me your thoughts on Willian very quickly, and Ryan, you give me your thoughts on Coutinho very quickly. Rowan, you go first.
I'm not excited by the Willian signing, you know. So my best friend is a Chelsea fan, and I've watched Chelsea quite a bit to pick up dirt on them mostly. So you know, I've watched them play, and Willian was severely out of form for a while, and he's returned to form after this lockdown. And I fear that this might become
that's my worry. Why does he come? Oh, it's just because of his contract is just about to run out, and then he comes into form. That's the worry for me.
And I don't want this to become another Mkhitaryan situation where he comes on, he's got a huge wage, and then we struggle because of that, right? Like, for some reason, it feels like we aren't moving forward. And the relationship that we have with Chelsea and the players that they sort of sell to us, always we tend to get the shorter end of the stick, right? And I fear that that's what's going to be the situation, really. And potentially, why do we need a winger? Like, our issue lies in midfield, like an attacking midfielder, a box-to-box defensive midfielder. That is what we want. It's a dire situation right now. Since I've been following Arsenal for the last 17, 18 years, I haven't seen such a dead midfield, and it worries me. We had Xhaka, who we can't way to get rid of, and we had Ceballos, who's on loan. The situation is just so bad, and adding Willian to that with all of his wages is just I don't know. I mean, it's not something that I am excited about.
No, it's a worry. I'll have to leave that there, Rowan. But thank you ever so much for joining us. I know it's been a bit of a difficult evening regards to that. Apologies for keeping you waiting. But thank you ever so much for joining us. And I do share those concerns. The only thing that was turned around for me was reading by David Ornstein that he was specifically an Arteta target, which it softened it for me because I've got so much faith in the guy.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Let's just wait and see what happens. Thank you.
No, I just want to end with saying that these glasses are not because it's sunny here. It's because the future of Arsenal is so bright with Arteta. That you have to put your sunglasses on, right?
You look like you should be in Miami Vice or something, Rowan. Crockett and Tubbs or whatever they're called.
So in Arteta we trust, and I believe that he's gonna take us right to the top, and we have to trust. You have to trust in him.
We do.
This is New York traffic, right?
If you want to stay there, more than welcome to stay. I'm just going to get Ryan's thoughts on Coutinho, but thank you ever so much, Rowan. Ryan, what's your thoughts on?
I'll be listening
Coutinho?
offline. Yeah.
Yes,
take care, guys.
Rowan. Bye.
Cheers.
Take care, Ryan. Bye.
Bye. Coutinho, it depends what Coutinho we get. It's like you said, everyone we've been linked with recently in the last few days, it turns out Arteta's asking specifically for them players. So that gives me some faith that he knows what he's doing. He would know what to do. It's just what Coutinho we're going to get. Are we going to get the one before he went Barcelona, where he was thriving in the Premier League and being the creative?
What, 3 years ago now, or four? 4, I think it was.
It'll be 4 years this
4
January
years ago,
coming.
left. Yeah, so that's a worry for me. His career's been so bitty, hasn't it? And I haven't read that he's an Arteta target. This is the difference, and it's all down to this bloody Kia, isn't it? And
of course,
that's
that
what's
as well.
worrying. Because I haven't read anywhere apart from Willian. Willian is an Arteta target according to David Ornstein. All the others, I haven't read that at all. I haven't read it or heard it or anything. And Tony sort of copied, I think this is from Arse blog put out there earlier. Willian, agent Kia. Coutinho, agent Kia. Louise, Kia. Pablo Marie, Arturo Canales, who's the mate of Raul, will rep Emery into the Arsenal job. So it is a worry, but I just hope to God that Arteta's getting what he wants, and not just having to make do with what he's given anyway.
Also, I think if it is a loan, if it is coming, it does happen. It is a loan, whatever. If Arteta does want him, or whatever the situation, if he can get the best out of him that we haven't seen since he's left Liverpool,
exactly,
then I won't complain. It's the other side where
if anyone will, he will.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's it's the job Arteta's done with this squad of players already in the last few months.
Do we need them both? Do we need Willian and Coutinho? sorry to butt in, and I don't
I
think we do we?
I personally don't think we need Willian full stop. I don't want.
Well, do you know what? This is what I mean. Up until yesterday, I would have agreed with you.
Yeah,
but
that's the only thing. Since that's come out, I'm like, okay, if he wants him, We'll give him a chance. But even then, he's 32 this weekend, and we'll give him He was a 3-year contract. So what? It's to go up to 35.
Yeah, but we don't have to keep him for the 3 years. This is what I was saying. I've got my head around it. We don't have to keep him.
The wages he's asking, what we're offering, 120, aren't
120. That's not a lot, is it, in this day and age for Willian?
PG can have him after a year then.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. You know, you can go to the MLS in a year's time after this season. And also, like I mentioned earlier, same with Cedric Suarez. People keep banging on about what a terrible signing he was. He's not a terrible signing. He's got Premier League experiences. He's a Euros winner. And if he's a first-team player of a top club, he's not going to come to be a backup, is he? So I think we've got a great backup there who's happy to be a backup. And we can sell him after a year as well. And if we didn't give him a 4-year contract, next year we'd have to be looking at renewing him. Because he's been down to 2 years left.
And also, this fan base complains we've never had competition for all these players, every position. Yeah, we've got competition for goalkeeper now, in Martes and Neno. Suarez has come in, as you said, he's a Euro winner with Portugal, international, fully fledged international, etc. And first few minutes of his debut at Arsenal, when eventually he got a chance to play, he scored a goal. And he's playing fantastic. And
exactly. People just, I don't know, they do my head in. Who do they expect to come in as a backup to Bellerin? You know?
Well, exactly. He provides competition, and that's why I think Bellerin suddenly, in the last few games, his performances have got better. Because if it weren't for the fact it was cup tied, Suarez would have been even more of a push towards the cup semi-final and the final.
Yeah, I think so.
At the time. So. But
I just think but I just feel I just want to turn. Sorry, go on. Sorry, I do beg your pardon.
No, sorry. It's all about getting the right players in the right positions. Which again, if what came out yesterday about Willian, Arteta wanting Willian, then I'd still be no, don't want him because A, for his age, and B, he wouldn't really improve us. All he'd give is experience. Which I think, does he play on the left? By the way. Willian, he does, doesn't he? So that means
he can play. Well, apparently, he can play anywhere across the front three, or across right, left, or centre. I've heard today, so he's quite happy to play in any of those roles.
But it depends on what formation Arteta goes for, though, because if he goes to 6 with the formation that he's gone with so far, with the 3 centre backs and 5 in the wing backs, that converts into a 5. You can only play Willian either right or left because there's no central number 10 role, so to speak. And it wouldn't make that doesn't make sense why we're going after Coutinho at the same time. Then we need to fill the positions. We need to go and address the positions that are needed. We need a defence, an athletic midfielder like Partey or Decore. I don't care who. Someone of that ilk, more so Partey, I lean towards. But if we can't get in, we have to go for a second backups, whoever that may be, long as it is in the positions we fucking need. Because I'm sick every year for the last 10. Oh, okay. Anyway, I'm just sick of the last 10, 11 years of when you just play we need an player in that position, the player in that position to get to where we need to be, and we don't address it. Let's wait for Andrew to come back. This is interesting. Exactly, Tony. I hijacked the channel from within. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, personally, I think we need at least another centre back, which we're looking at. A DM and gets a bonus for another season with the obligation or whatever to buy for a set price. Just go with it, and then if we need this is the main thing for me. We've got 6 weeks till for the final. Before the start of the season starts, we've got 4 weeks between now and the Community Shield. We need to be We need to have the first team players that we're looking at ready. Here we go.
Right, Ryan.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell happened. My internet just literally stopped all of a sudden, so apologies for that. I don't think I've got any roadworks going on outside, but I've just cut through the cable. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah, someone's stealing the Wi-Fi in the area.
Well, I think it's actually come back on my computer now as well, but really apologies for leaving you on your own there. Just for 1 second.
No, that's all right. I was just saying that the areas I'd address. Yeah, go on.
No, carry on.
I was just saying the areas I think I personally, if I was in charge, want to address are as another centre back, which we are apparently looking at in this guy from Lille, a Thomas Partey or someone of his ilk, sort of midfielder, get Ceballos in for either signing permanently or get another loan with the obligation to buy him for a set price. And as Tony says, a box to box, someone that's going to be that link up between the defence and the attack, but have that creativity as well. Because I'm sick of year in, year out saying we just need to address that area to be competing again, not going for a title or doing this or doing that, and we never do it. And when we do eventually do it, to do that, it's too late because there's other areas we've got to address. Just address the areas that we need to address first and foremost and be ready before we play Liverpool at the end of this month. And if we're still signing players afterwards, they have to be what you'd call squad players. It's gone again. But, it's squad play.
I am here, Ryan. I am here.
Yeah. Are you back?
I'm just removed my stream that I was on my phone. So that's probably what threw you. So yeah, it is a conundrum because I think that I've never seen Willian really as a
creative
as a winger.
Yeah. No.
I've always seen him really as sort of playing in the hole behind the strikers. But anyway. Yeah. I am concerned that all the other targets are these Kia agents, Kia players rather, and I just hope to God that
aside from Partey, all the players we've been linked with are Brazilian.
Well,
literally.
Yeah, it is a bit strange, isn't it, actually?
Apart from Partey, all the Brazilians. Who's their agent? Kia.
Yeah, I know it's a bit odd. It is a bit odd, and that is a bit of a concern. But the main thing that matters to me, like I've said, is that Arteta gets the players he wants anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to leave it there then, Ryan. I do apologise for that. The ending of the bit strange. Because
Tony enjoyed it.
I know it's like I got Ethernet connection, and it just literally just stopped. Just really odd. Anyway, so many apologies. Thanks for coming on. I hope to see you again soon. Have you got anything coming up show-wise soon?
Friday, I'm hoping to do a show on Friday, end of season review. Sorry, and if you're available around 6ish, so if you're available, I'd love to have you on.
Right. Yeah, I think I am this Friday. Do you know what as well? Just want to finish off on a real sort of positive comments, and I've almost forgotten about the first half of the season. It's just almost gone out of my head, right? And I see that the end of this season, and this is the way I'm looking at it, I'm really happy with it. I see it as a real positive, and I see the whole season generally as a positive the way it's ended, because first thing, we've got Arteta now. We started the season with Emery. Now we've ended it with, I think, probably the most exciting manager around.
Yeah.
So that's a big positive. And the way that we finished it, by having a much better season than Spurs, who finished 6th, knocking Wolves out of the Europa League and jumping straight into the group stage of the Europa League ahead of Spurs, who have to play 3 games, which started yesterday probably, to get into the group stage.
The qualifiers don't start.
I just think that it's been positive.
Yeah, apparently the qualifiers won't start until September. They're literally going to be like bang, 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 bang. So that's going to affect their start of the Premier League season as well. So it's all pluses there. Plus, don't forget they've got their documentary coming out in the next couple of weeks. That'll be interesting to watch. Oh. Got the keys back. Yes. Striking port as well. Bloody hell. Tony, while we're waiting, you got any questions you want to ask? Kill some time. Oh dear, my ears. We would have known what was gone. Probably could. Oh dear. Trying to save my energy for tomorrow or the week, next few days actually. It'll be fucking scorching over here. I've got gym to deal with, so my leg's still giving me jips, so that's gonna be interesting tomorrow night. Anyway, so okay, get some score updates while we're waiting. European football's back underway this evening. Right. Okay.
Here we am.
There you go.
What the hell is going on? How weird.
Gremlins.
I know, definitely gremlins. It must be. Listen, I'll sign off anyway, just in case it happens again, Ryan. But hopefully see you on Friday then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Thanks ever so much, and I really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone watching and listening. Sorry about the ending of the show. Very unprofessional. I don't know what the hell's happened. It's out of my control. Give us a like, please, before you leave. Everyone that watches on YouTube, and give us a review on the audio platforms. That'd be fantastic. Thanks ever so much, and I'll hopefully see you next week. Take care, Ryan. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye.